everyone. Good afternoon. I wanted to welcome you to this year's Digital Directions Award Ceremony. My name is Ann Cole, and I'm the Assistant Executive Director of the Maryland Federation of Art. I'm really excited to be kicking off tonight's awards ceremony for our Digital Directions exhibition. One thing that I hope you all realize is that this show really does need to be seen in person. It is absolutely incredible. What I will say is that this year's exhibition really stretched and challenged us as an organization from an installation standpoint. But I have to say that the talent among our artists is really, truly amazing. And I want to thank you all for your patience as you worked with us to make sure that it really came together to provide a very innovative and dynamic experience for everybody that walks into Circle Gallery. As you may know, this show has really evolved over the last few years with the changing technology, and I'm so excited that MFA has been able to be a part in exhibiting this work as it changes over the course of time. I want to thank first Emil Petrancio, who was the chair of this exhibition. He spent countless hours preparing and installing with our faithful volunteers this show for exhibition. Finally, I want to thank and introduce our juror for the show, Jonathan Monaghan. Jonathan is the chair and an associate professor in the Department of Art at the Catholic University of America. He's an artist working across a wide spectrum of media, including computer animated video, and having exhibited internationally in Paris, Russia, and locally here at the Walters Art Museum. If you haven't had a chance to take a look at his website, I highly recommend and encourage you to do so, just to see his perspectives. With that, I'm going to turn this over to Jonathan to lead us through the awards for Digital Directions. Thank you, Jonathan.
Thank you. Yes. Hello, everyone. Thank you. Yes, I'm Jonathan Monaghan. I'm a visual artist. And so I'm based in Washington, D.C., where I live and work. And I've been working with digital technologies to create my artwork for about 15 years. Yes, I work with computer animation. I also work with digital fabrication technologies such as 3D printing and CNC milling. And it was such a wonderful opportunity to judge this exhibition and see the wide variety of different ways in which artists are engaging with various new digital technologies today. And it was really incredible to see the depth and the breadth of the different types of approaches that artists are taking to create work with digital technology nowadays. So you can sort of read, I'll just kind of run quickly through a little statement that I wrote for this. You know, the artwork selected for Digital Directions illustrates the wide range and ways artists employ digital technology to express themselves. From new approaches to ancient crafts, such as jacquard, which we'll see, to brand new cutting edge technology, such as augmented reality, which we'll also see. Artists are clearly embracing the limitless creative possibilities of the digital age. Although the luster and novelty of exciting new digital processes often leads to artworks that are less about an artist's voice and more what the technology can do, the artists selected for this exhibition, however, are breaking through these pitfalls to create work that is truly personal, expressive, meaningful, and original. And that's what I was really looking for when I was seeing through all of the different entries, and there was hundreds of entries. The work that stood out to me and what I was looking for were ways were artists that were really using technology to create works that were not only visually expressive and strong and thematically, deep and robust, but also that we're using technology in ways that were really innovative and really meaningful. The artworks created in this exhibition show that digital is not merely a new, amusing artistic medium, but instead it's a mindset. It's an approach to art making in which the artist's vision drives experimentation with a powerful new set of tools. Aware of art's long history and critically engaged with its future. And so I think that's what the works in the exhibition represent, and also the artists that we are awarding the honorable mentions to, and the jury awards, I think, also really embody a lot of that mindset. So yeah, I think I'd love to start to show off some of the works and talk a little bit about them. So when I was jurying these works, I initially was looking at like hundreds of different submissions online, through a screen. But then, and I was able to narrow it down to the many artists and works that we included in the exhibition. And so then, of course, to select sort of these honorable mentions and these jury awards, I had to see the work in person. And I highly recommend that anybody that gets a chance should do the same, should go and take a look at the exhibition in Annapolis, because there's some really incredible results that are on the walls at the Circle Gallery in Annapolis. And this was one of those really incredible works, because this work, you have to see this work in person. It looks so amazing in person. The detail, and what strikes me about this work in person is through the way that the artist, through the way Stephen printed it, through the materials that he used to print it. It's incredible what happens visually on the result on the wall when you see this work in person. These lines just sort of jump out. It looks so dimensional, even though it's essentially a flat surface. It just looks so incredibly dimensional. This is incredible work to see in person, and just one of those great examples in which you can really stretch abstraction and really experiment with creating these optical effects and the optical depth and surface using digital technology. So this is an honorable mention for Stephen. Next slide, I guess. And so there was also a lot of photography that was submitted, a lot of digital photography. And I was interested in the photography that not only stood out visually and conceptually, but also really sort of engaged with the digital technology here. And this, while it's sort of a more traditional photography, in that there's not a whole lot of digital mediation through the photograph, it is, I think, engages a lot with sort of the aesthetics of the digital age, sort of the colors of the digital that we might associate with sort of digital technology. Is very vibrant neon colors. And so this is just an excellent photograph, and it's printed out really well. There's a little bit of digital manipulation on it, but some of that looks like it's digital manipulation, but it's actually real world sort of set design and real world sort of costume design. So it's this nice interplay between the physical that's shot from a camera and then also the digital manipulation as well. So it's a great piece. So an honorable mention for David there. An honorable mention for Jeff here. This is a video presented as a video, which is a still from the video we're looking at here. So this is using like a various digital manipulation, but also like a 360 video, which creates this really interesting abstraction of this natural river landscape. And we see this sort of bubble forming in the video. It's really, it takes this sort of ordinary, natural imagery, and then turns it into this really compelling abstraction. And I believe also that this is filming a sort of a river that was having some ecological issues and was drying out. And so it's a really interesting, also, I think, commentary on the natural world and the way in which we mediate the natural world through digital technology. All right, so next slide. So another honorable mention for Selena. This is an incredible print. I mean, it's printed out very large. It's a lot of incredible detail in it. Using 3D, using various 3D animation software. So creating these virtual spaces and then sort of photographing them. So this is like this really beautiful dream, like sort of like MC Escher result here using these different digital 3D software, 3D modeling and animation software. And that's something that I use in my work is 3D modeling and animation software to create my work. And these are the kinds of softwares that are employed in Hollywood to create like Pixar movies and special effects. They're employed in video game industry to create video games. Architects use similar software as well. And artists for decades have been employing these tools to create really compelling, imaginative spaces and results. So this is a great example of that. And another honorable mention for Mary Jane here. And this one, this work was so great because here we see what's some weaving, which is essentially an ancient craft. And we see the digital technology employed in connection with this ancient craft. And this is something we're seeing a lot in recent decades, really in recent years, in which many ancient crafts, whether it's marble carving or ceramics or weaving here, are being, I guess how you can say, engaged with in really interesting ways using digital technology. So digital technology is sort of augmenting a lot of these ancient crafts in really compelling ways, and artists are really driving that. I myself also employs like marble I'm making right now. Creating a marble sculpture using digital CNC milling techniques. And so it's really great to see these ancient art making mediums being engaged with in the digital technology sphere. So these are some excellent, excellent artworks by Mary Jane for another honorable mention here. And so now we're on to the Juror's Choice Awards. So there's 5 Juror's Choice Awards. This first one by Theo Arts was just an incredible use of all kinds of different digital technology to create a really ambitious and well-crafted piece. Again, this is definitely one of those pieces you have to see in person. There's sculpture, there's video, there's interactive elements, there's printed elements. It's a remarkable combination of a whole lot of different media to create a really compelling result. So it looks like an altarpiece and it has this sort of Renaissance feel to it, but it just has such a fascinating, and I think, you know, you can tell that this is an artist that's been perfecting their craft for a long time. And so this work is another work, one of those works you have to see in person, one of those works that also has a very strong impact in person. So this is one of the first Juror's Choice Awards here. So excellent piece. This is another Juror's Choice. This is Jason Hackett. And this work, I was particularly excited to showcase this work because it's a work that doesn't really seem digital at first. It's a very sculptural work. It's a wall sculpture. And it's something that seems like it's very, you know, analog, you can say. It doesn't seem like the digital technology is there. But when you look closely, you can see that the digital technology is there. And again, like the previous work from Theo, we see a whole variety of different digital technologies and digital processes involved here, from 3D printing to two-dimensional inkjet printing to laser cutting. A whole wide array of digital fabrication techniques are employed here. And in addition, there's, you know, raw clay from a specific location as well involved. So bringing in that, you know, this variety of different mediums to create, I think, what's a very aesthetically and visually strong result was really exciting here. So another Juror's Choice for Jason. And this work is another Juror's Choice by Margaret Hull. I think that's the screenshot here maybe doesn't have, has all this GUI on it. I don't think that was in the original, but anyways, this is a screenshot from a digital animation. This work was created using a type of what's essentially like a real-time game engine or a real-time 3D engine. And in this video, where this sort of observer is exploring this really crazy dreamlike space composed of different fabric patterns. And I was really drawn to this sort of interesting contrast between these very soft fabric patterns and very floral sort of natural fabric patterns with this very surreal setup, you know, with these very hard edged planes and the way in which this sort of observer explores the space is very interesting. So there's a lot of abstraction going on here. There's this surreal dream space going on, but then there's also this connection to very physical fabric patterning. And so I sort of thought that was a really interesting use of this real-time game engine, which again we typically would associate with like video games or something like that. And then this artist is really taking that existing technology into brand new directions. So that was really great. Juror's Choice. And I think this is the last Juror's Choice and last work by Alex Curley. This work was so strong in this work, I also sort of came with also a video installation as well, sort of on the side, but we're looking here at a photograph, a print. But the photograph is of a projected image, which is sort of looks like a light ray coming in from a window. This artist plays with lights and plays with the digital image in really interesting ways. So there's projection, there's photography here. There's a whole lot going on, and it's a lot of mediation with the digital software and the digital technology to create works that I think are really poetic and elegant, and also I think showcase again just a lot of the variety that you can take in with digital technology. So playing with photography, playing with the printed image, and going back and forth between those different mediums. So this is another excellent piece. So anyways, so these are all the works that were the cream of the crop. There was a lot of excellent other works too that are in the gallery. I wish I could give a million awards because the works were really strong in this group of artists, and I think that the works were also really showcased a lot of the, again, just that range. I mean, that blew me away, just the range of different types of work that I received to look at, and then also the range of works that we were able to set up in the gallery. It really blew me away just to see that. And again, it's so exciting too to see just the all of these different innovative and personal and expressive ways in which artists employ digital technology. Again, like I said and alluded to in that juror statement, oftentimes with the term digital art, artists or people sort of employ a lot of the standard novelties of digital technology and digital software to create works that are cool and are novel, but they sort of lack the artist's voice. They lack the critical engagement with technology, or they lack this experimental quality that's so essential to strong artwork. But the works in this show, I think, really move past a lot of that novelty and create, like I said, create works that are really personal, compelling, expressive, meaningful, and also relevant as well. And the digital technology, especially as we've seen over the past 2 years, is becoming more and more integral to our lives and more integral into the way we communicate and interact with one another, for better or worse. But as long as I think artists are engaged with technology, I think this is always going to be a productive aspect of our lives, as long as we keep the artist's voice involved. And so that's what we're doing here. So anyways, I guess that's all I want to say. I probably should stop talking soon. I don't know how we're going to do this, unfortunately, in Zoom and in terms of other people chatting or whatever. But I know a number of the artists are here. Maybe if they're okay with saying something about their work, they can. I'm sure they could talk about their work better than I can. And so maybe we can do that, or maybe there's people that have questions. I don't know how we want to do this. So, but anyways, I'll stop talking. That's for sure. So anyways, thank you all.
Does anybody have any questions for Jonathan or of any of the other artists that are on the line right now?
Yeah, maybe any of the artists maybe that are here, maybe if they're comfortable, they could just start introducing themselves and talking about their work.
Hello.
No pressure.
Hello.
Hi, David.
Prize, second prize and third prize, or?
Well, there was all of the juror awards are just a juror award, and so the artists get a small token of appreciation, and the honorable mentions are just some highlights that we brought into just to highlight.
Oh, I got the order wrong. Okay, thank you.
There's no first or second or third place, I wish I could give out $1 million to all these artists, but you know.
Yeah, that'd
Yep.
be great.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, it would be nice. Yeah.
Actually, and can I go ahead and ask a question of Alex Curley?
Hi, yes. I'm
Hi,
here.
Alex. So I was here when you brought in your piece, your two pieces actually, and helped set those up. And I just wanted to find out from you kind of what motivated you to do both a moving projection piece as well as a print piece.
I think with the the moving projection is kind of how the print originated in the first place. And so, and I also want to say thank you also to Laura, who I've been emailing with, helping me work out all the logistics of setting that installation up. So thank you to her too. Yeah, so with the that piece, I think that it originated in a gallery space as a projected installation, and then it got translated again through photography. So there's kind of all these digital translations that it went through. Yeah, and so I thought a print would be a cool way to try out something like that. So thank you. And thank you, Jonathan.
Yeah, you're welcome. Again, you know, all these different digital translations and mediations, but the result is still so elegantly simple and well executed. So great work.
Hi, I can say something briefly. My name is Margaret Hull. Thank you for organizing this exhibition and Jonathan for curating or jurying. Very honored to be included. The work that is included, or one of the pieces, is a video that I made using open source technology, Mozilla Hubs and Spoke. And this was my first, I took a VR class in the fall of 2020. It was my first introduction to working in VR. And so it really felt like an experiment for me. And I typically work in very analog processes, though I have worked in video before, video as a medium to feature garments or to show garments that I make. My background is in textiles. So I'm very honored to be recognized for this work because I still think there's a lot that I have to learn about working in VR, and I'm looking forward to continuing to do that work.
Yeah, and I think one of the great things about digital technology, especially more and more nowadays, is the accessibility. And you know, every year, this technology gets easier and easier for people to jump into and experiment with and explore. And especially when artists do this, and especially when artists are coming at this technology with all this experience and knowledge in some other, you know, field or some other area of expertise, and then they're beginning to experiment with digital technology, experiment with these brand new technologies out there with all of that background and experience, you get really amazing results. So it's a great job, Margaret. It was very interesting to see your work. And I'd love to also learn more about it. Hopefully we stay in touch with all these artists and everything, learn more about the details and the background that people are bringing into this. It was a little hard with the jurying process because all I have is just the work. I don't have any you know, biographical information or background information or anything like that. So.
Jonathan, this is Stephen. Thank you for your remarks. And I'm blown away by the fact that I actually got into this show because I come from a traditional background, and obviously I'm probably one of the senior members. But the thing is that digital is just the next iteration of whatever's going on in art history. And so I've always approached whatever I've done from that point of view, is that the medium is only as good as the idea behind it. And, you know, the artist chooses a medium that they're going to use. I was pushed into digital work for a number, there were a couple of, I won't call them traumas, but they were life-changing experiences. And the last one was about 6 years ago when I lost the use of my right eye. And so painting in a studio or any of that was impossible. And now the nice thing about the digital is that it's backlit, which means there's no depth perception. And so when I was bemoaning the fact that I was not going to be able to do any artwork, the next thing was, well, what artwork can I do? And digital was the answer. And so I'm still just playing around the edges with it because I have an old brain, but it's some of the most exciting things I've ever done in my life. And I'm thankful that I can do this. And I'm much appreciative of your words about how digital fits in here, and that it has to have an art basis, because this is really flashy stuff if we just let it be flashy. So I'm going to shut up now because I go long, but I would like to stay in touch with you because I have questions.
Yeah, thank you, Steve. Yeah, it's so fascinating to hear about that because, again, what struck me about your works, especially seeing them in person, was just how you created this, illusion of depth in the final pieces. It was really incredible. The results, they just jump out at you, and it's this op art effect where you don't know what's going on. It's just this flat surface, but it looks so dimensional. It was really remarkable to see that. So
it was a lot of fun.
Great. Yeah, and
I believe
absolutely.
Michelle. Oh, sorry. I believe Michelle might have a comment. If you can unmute yourself.
Hi, I'm a member of the show. Honored again. Thank you so much, Jonathan, for including me. I just wanted to say how wonderful it is that Circle Gallery embraces digital. Many galleries don't, in my experience, and even for many galleries, photography is not considered art, so we won't even begin that discussion. But I really appreciate you including me in the show. I just wanted to say I submitted 2 scarves, which are digitally painted. So traditional, I am like Stephen, I'm a traditional artist. I started, painting, and now that I don't have a studio, I can do everything on my computer. My paintings are, the flowers are painted in Adobe Illustrator and then composed in Adobe Photoshop. And also the sign of our times is that we can easily have things printed on fabric and silk, and it makes it so that art is very portable and easy to hang, and also we can wear this art. So I just wanted to chat about my process. Thank you again for including me.
Yeah, no, thank you. Yeah, again, if you're anywhere near Annapolis, I definitely encourage everybody to see the show in person. You can see Michelle's work in person, which was great. And again, all of this work is really well done in the gallery. So yeah, I think we'll definitely all try and stay in touch. I'm very accessible. I'm on various social media platforms. My website has my email. Just feel free to reach out. Based in DC. Yeah, feel free to reach out and stay in touch with anybody that wants to.
Does anybody else have something they would like to add about their work?
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you for including the Paperman, the augmented reality piece in the show. It's really hard to, translate that to a jurying process. And I appreciate, you guys looking into it so that you could see the potential of the work and what it does.
Yeah, I think maybe we skipped over your slide or something in the presentation, but yeah, so Christopher's work was just this incredible augmented reality piece where we look at a print, which is on its own a very strong image. And then we have, of course, an iPad, or you could use any iPad or iPhone for it. And we get a whole other aspect of the work, because once we put the phone's camera in front of this print, a whole virtual 3-dimensional space emerges in between us and the print that sort of extends what the imagery in the print into this sort of virtual augmented reality space. And of course, as I mentioned too, with a lot of these technologies such as augmented reality, we get a lot of novelty, or we get a lot of glitz and glamour, but we don't get a whole lot of really interesting, well done pieces and well done expression. But I think with Christopher's work, we also saw that. Again, we don't have the image up, but it was of this this machine, sort of traditional sort of looking factory, and I think exploring some of that more traditional ideas in machine and this sort of digital space is really interesting too, to get us to think about some of these connections between the machine world and the virtual world and the real world. So yeah, again, excellent work.
I want to thank you for including a weaver in the digital show. I much appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Mary Jane. Yeah, I'd love to hear more about that process and how you translated this image, this photograph into the weaving, and what kind of digital process and technology you're working with to do that.
Now?
Sure, if you want, if you're comfortable with that, you don't have to.
Well, I started with photographs that I took in Chinqua Monarch Sanctuary in Michoacan, Mexico. I put them into Photoshop and I basically manipulated into sort of a template to use into a weaving. And then I reduced the photos to 10 colors or less, and then really refine all those colors because you have all those pixels all over the place. And then I make patterns which represent weave structures. Every pixel is a thread, and a black is up and a white is down. So I had 654 warp threads in each panel, and I weave samples. I put the patterns into the template, into the image, and then I weave samples to get the colors, and then I decide where each pattern is going to go in the image. And then I hook the computer up to the loom and hope it comes out the way I hoped, the way I wanted it to.
That's incredible. Yeah. And so you're actually doing all of that, yourself too. You're not working with you're not outsourcing it.
No.
Yeah, that's incredible.
There really isn't anybody to outsource it to. There are very few of us who are doing it.
That's incredible. Yeah, no, that was incredible to see that. And they have this nice abstraction quality. The colors are really luminous in the final work. So
thank you.
Jonathan, I wanted to take a minute just because we did have a technical issue with Christopher's piece, and just share the PowerPoint again.
Yeah.
So that everybody
most people are not seeing this in person. So yeah, we just skipped over this slide. Yeah, this was Christopher's AR piece, the Juror's Choice. And so you can see this is what we're looking at here is the print, and this sits on the wall. But then when you have this iPad and you look at the print through the iPad camera, all of this image, all this machine imagery sort of jumps out at you and creates this really interesting virtual space in between the print and the camera that you're looking through. So it's it was really excellent work.
So if anybody has any other comments or questions, just raise your hand, let me know. One of the things I did want to say is we are expecting to have an in-person closing reception for this show on February 26th from 4 to 6. So if you are available in the area, we would love to see you. I didn't realize how people react to this work until you sit in the gallery and you watch people come in, and it is amazing to see just the reactions of people. They go into the projection room where Alex's piece is and they sit there for 5 minutes. They're looking at Chris's piece through the iPad, walking through, the different, walking around with the iPad, trying to see the different pieces come at them. Or Theo's piece, they just spend, minutes just looking at the faces change. And then the colors in the tulip scarf, I think really captivate people. So it really is an incredible show to see in person. So if you are able to come to our closing reception, we would love to have all of you. And again, that's February 26th from 4 to 6. So if there's nothing else, I just want to thank Jonathan. I want to thank all of the artists. Thank you all very much. And we look forward to seeing your work again, hopefully in our next Digital Direction show.
Thank you, everybody. Stay in touch.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.